right, my friends, welcome to Halloween Addicts Anonymous for July of 2024. We are going to be creating a piece called Monster Hair. This is what it should look like when we're done. It's a nice piece that you don't have to find wall space for because it has a stand so it can sit up. I think it would look great in a guest bathroom during Halloween, just to kind of give your guests a chuckle. Anyway, so this is what we hope it's going to turn out like when we get done. And this is what it looks like when we get started. So I did some base coating. I didn't think you needed to watch me base coat. So the first thing I base coated was the chest and head. That's with matcha green. And you can notice I just went right over where those curls on the face are going to go. I put the pattern on for them so I can still see them, see the pattern through there, but I wanted to have the green face behind it. The earrings, the little lightning bolts, are based with moon yellow. The hair is based with graphite. What I'm calling her dress, because you can only see a little bit of it on her shoulders. The dress and the base that she sits on are based with turquoise blue. The skull cutout and the sign cutout are both based with warm white. And I just used a cosmetic sponge to base those real quick. It was much easier than dealing with my brush. Anyway, so once I got that based, I put the pattern on for the streaks in the hair, for all the facial features, and for the scars. And then I went ahead and based in the eyeballs completely first with warm white. I based in the iris with lavender, and the pupil is lamp black. So this is our starting point. We are going to be working on the face first. We'll get that out of the way. So let me move a little closer. That was back. That didn't work. So what we're going to do, and one thing I want to make sure you do before you start painting on all these things is you need to sand them lightly. I keep a sanding block right close to my desk where I can reach it, because once you base coat things, give them a quick little sand so you have a easier time getting nice soft floats and stuff. So we are going to get out some celery shoot, and what I want to do is I want to dry brush highlighting all over her green head and face and stuff with the celery shoot. And this is basically going to go all over her face. We'll refine the highlights later, but right now we're just gonna give her some highlights with celery shoot. I'm gonna start on her forehead here. You should have to scrub to get that off. And I'm going to go right through where that strand of hair is. All right. So just quick. These are her little ears. You want to get a little bit on her little ears. Just a piece of them pokes out from the hair. Let's go down this bridge of her nose and then widen out when you get to the tip of her nose, okay? And this is all with celery shoot. Let's go on her face, under her eyes, on her cheeks there. Quite a bit of dry brushing here. But you can see it's making a difference already. So let's get this other side done. make sure I get under her nose but above her lip, and I want to get down on her chin under her lips. And last but not least, we're going to dry brush some highlighting on her neck and her chest. And like I said, we're going to come back and brighten this up a little bit, but we'll do some shading first. Okay. So you got all that celery shoot on her face. Now you want to get out some plantation pine so we can do some shading. Plantation pine, an oldie but a goodie. Haven't used it in quite a while, and I don't know why. It's a really nice color for shading. So just a pop of plantation pine, and we are going to float some shading. Let's see, let me find my brush. Just a regular side load float, although you do want to make sure it's nice and soft. And if you look at your step-by-step pictures, you can see where the shading is, pretty much. I'm going to go first on her chest, next to her dress. Could have been on camera for that. That would have been really nice. Starting off really well. I'm going to do the other side. Oops, that got a little darker, but it'll be okay. I will just get my handy dandy mop brush and we'll just soften that out a little bit. Okay, I did not go across the bottom of her neck. I am going to go under her chin. And eventually we'll come back and do across the tops of her shoulders. But we want to let the chin float and these next to the dress dry a little bit. I also want to I'm going to go across her forehead, and I'm just going to go right through where those curls are going to go. Well, actually, yeah, I am first. We're going to come back and we'll shade around the curls, but for right now, you can just go right through them. Just a nice, soft float of plantation pine. All the way across her forehead. Another spot to soften that out. We want to go around her mouth, all the way around her mouth. And you can fix the shape when you base it in if you muff it up a little bit. It's all right. Okay, and this one I'm definitely going to soften those floats a little bit. I am going to go around these little curls by her ears. Just to get them set in. She looks weird with that mouth shaded around. Okay. Let's see. Her ears, you want to float a little bit of shading just inside the edge of where her ear is, just to give you that little lip that's on your ear. So it's not a very big float, but it's just a little ways off the side edge of the ears. Now we are also going to float this plantation pine. Before I forget, let's go ahead and do her shoulders. Let's get the other one done. Okay. Nose is itching. What does that mean? I don't know. It means I have allergies. That's what it means. So now I'm going to float to set in the nose. So I'm going to come around the bridge of the nose like this. Probably not this dark, but that's what this handy dandy mop brush will take care of. You also want to go down around the tip of the nose. I'm going to go up the other side. This side goes a little bit farther. It's going to go all the way under her eyebrow. And I think we'll go ahead and do that on this side too. And I know she looks a little weird now, but we'll fix it, don't worry. Okay, so let's see. Any place else I need to float this? I'm checking my... so I want to touch just a little bit right here to give that little, like those little balls that you have on your nose that form your nostrils. So we're just going to touch a little bit in there. And I kind of wiped out my other float, so I probably should have waited, but it'll be okay. I'm not too worried about it because there's a lot of stuff that goes on this. All right. I also want to, just want to deepen this little corner here next to her curls and her forehead there. Okay, just that little V area. So we are going to get out some cactus flower. If you don't have cactus flower, you can pick like melon, dragon fruit maybe even. Or we're just going to give her some color on her cheeks and her chin and a couple different places. So this is a dry brush. We're going to give her some nice round cheeks with this cactus flower. And their cheeks sit right up kind of under the eye. Just where your cheeks are. So nice and soft. I also want to dry brush some of this in on the neck a little bit, just to add neck or chest, just to add a little bit of color to her chest. And I also want to give her a little bit on her chin. And I'll do a little on her forehead. Okay. So she's got a little bit of a rosy color there. So now we're going to float some highlighting on her face. We're going to do that. We're going to come back with our celery shoot. So what I want to do is I want to highlight the edge of those ears a little bit so we don't forget about them. I also want to highlight in the inside of her nose, in these little balls. Looks kind of bright, but it'll be okay. Okay. Let's also go float on the lower half of her face. So from her earring down, around her chin, and back up to the other earring. And then we're gonna just kind of slide a little bit of this in here, although we're gonna come back and dry brush shading and highlighting on here. So don't panic if it's not looking real good just yet. It's gonna take a while. Okay, we're gonna take a break from this. We're not done by any means, but we're gonna take some lamp black, very well blended out, and we're gonna float that across the top and the bottom of the eye. And that's gonna go across the whites, the purples, and of course the pupil, because it won't matter. But you do want to make sure that it's a nice soft float of lamp black. You don't want it to be a black line. So I'm just going to go, right, I could probably, no, that might be enough. So I'm going to go across the top. And that just helps to place the eye back into the head. Okay. And across the bottom. I want to mop that one a little bit. Okay. And we'll do the bottom on this side. So we've stuck that lamp black in our eye. So now what we need to do is we need to redefine that eyeball. And so the eyeball is round. It's not almond shaped. The eyeball itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and just float that little C-stroke float there in the outside and inside corner of the eye, just to give you the idea that that eye is round in there. That white part of the eye is round. So just a little curved float of warm white. All right, looking pretty good. We're going to need wisteria and dioxazine purple. So we can do some highlighting and shading on the iris. And we're just going to do that with a liner brush. So the highlight is wisteria, and we're just working on the purple iris. And it's going to go in the left side of the eye, iris, and a little bit in the right side, but not too terrible much. So more of it in the left side of the iris. I get my right and lefts mixed up still. Or now. All right. So now with Addicts purple, we're going to line the shading in kind of the lower right side of the iris. All right, so we need to get out our dry brush again. I think I have a smaller one somewhere laying here. We are going to dry brush just a little bit of warm white in the pupil. Just a tidge, not a whole lot. We just need to break it up a little bit. I'm just going to scrub just a little warm white in those pupils. And now what I want to do now that I've done the highlighting and shading in the eye, I'm going to come back again with a soft float of lamp black, this time only across the top of the eye. I could have waited, but I really wanted this one to be a little darker anyway. So I'm going to just float, ooh, not that dark. That was a little too dark. So I'm just going to float that shading again across the top of the eye. And that really, going across the highlighted iris and stuff, that just really makes that eye drop back into the head. So we are going to add a couple warm white highlights to the pupil. And let's see, I'm going to do a set down in the upper right, and then I'm going to do a set down diagonally across from that on the left, but it's going to straddle between the black and the purple, okay? We are going to float some turquoise blue on her eyelid. It's not very intense. We just wanted to add a little color to her eyelid. So just right above that eye, I'm going to come in with a float of turquoise blue. Blue eyeshadow that matches her dress. Now, I told you we were going to come back in and do some more highlighting and shading, and we are going to do that with a dry brush. So make sure you get out your dry brush and make sure that you have it dry. We are going to pick up some plantation pine, which was our shading color. And what we're going to do is we are going to kind of dry brush into next to the bridge of her nose. And if it gets on the bridge of her nose, that's okay. It's perfectly fine. So you're just going to kind of dirty up that area right there on both sides. So it kind of blends down into her cheek. I also want to dry brush a little bit on her eyelid. Again, if it gets onto the bridge of her nose, that's perfectly fine. So just a little. So you kind of do it over that turquoise blue a little bit. Not much, not completely. I'm going to go under her nose, right where her the middle of her lip is. I also want to go on either side of her mouth, just real soft. Don't get too carried away. Okay, she looks very dirty now. Very, very dirty. But it'll be okay. Trust me. Have I lied to you yet? Not yet on this one. I just want to soften that up a little bit. All right. So what I want to do now is there was a crease where it's going to go above that eyeshadow on her eyelid. And we're just going to float that in with Plantation Pine. So it comes from the corner of her eye, and you're just going to go right, give her a little eyelid right there. Right? Get the other one in. Just kind of defines the eyelid a little bit more. Let's see. I do believe that we need to float just a tidge of Plantation Pine right here where the ball of her nose and her nostrils kind of meet. So it's really just a very light touch right there. And you can blend it out with your fingers. When it gets too dark, I just kind of tap it with my finger, and that lightens it up a little bit. So we need to dry brush some brighter highlights with warm white. Start with the easy part first. We're going to dry brush kind of in the center of her neck and chest with warm white. Just to bump it up a little bit. Okay? That was the easy part. What I want to do now is I want to dry brush a little bit of warm white on her chin. I also want to do a little bit to each side of her lower lip. I'm going to do a little bit across the top of her cheeks. I also want to do a little bit on her forehead, and this is all with warm white. And then I also want to go down the bridge of her nose. And we're going to go in those little nostrils and the ball of her nose. All right, she's going to have, we're going to mix some lamp black and some turquoise blue, and we're going to give her her eyebrows. And I did not shade or highlight these eyebrows. They're just kind of like stroked on there. But a little lamp black and a little turquoise blue. More lamp black than blue. I didn't want them to be just straight black. And let's see if I can see them. Can't really. So I'll just kind of put them back on. Okay, so let's give her a couple of eyebrows. Probably could have used a different brush and that would have been better. Definitely going to use a different brush on the next one, or maybe just thin the paint a little. We all have those brushes that just don't want to do what we want, right? Nice little eyebrow. Going to do the other side. Hopefully it'll look kind of the same. Alright, I think she looks weird because she doesn't have eyelashes. I know that. Alright. That's a little better. Now what I want to do is I want to come back to her nose and I want to dry brush a little bit of the cactus flower on the middle ball of her nose and on the nostrils. All right, let's see, what else can we do? Well, she needs some eyelashes. So what we're going to do is we are going to take some thin lamp black and we're going to work on her eyelashes. So you need your tiny liner brush, and you can start in the inside corner of her eye, pull along the line of the lid, and then just pull out some eyelashes. And I'm going to go back to these eyelashes and kind of add that little thick part on the end of them. Kind of like a comma stroke, but I didn't really want to do comma strokes. And it is going to go all the way down to the other corner of the eye. And then I'm also going to pull one, I'm just going to line a little bit and pull one from the lower lid. I didn't want to put all of them across the lower lid. So again, starting in the corner of the eye, just going to pull up. Well, I'm going to work at this a little different angle and pull your lashes. And then just a little one from the bottom of the eye. Now I'm going to take some of that lamp black and kind of thin it down some more. And what I want to do is I want to, you know how your eyes kind of have like a tear duct? So I'm going to fill in that little tear duct right in the inside corner of my eye. And then I also want to kind of fill in this little area here. So just like the tear ducts on the inside edge, we're going to line in. I really want this to be a nice, soft little fill in of lamp black, so that gives you, reinforces the look of the eyeball being round in there, okay? Awesome. Now I'll come back with my liner brush, and I want to give those eyelashes like a little bit thicker tip. So I'm just going to come back with my liner brush and just thicken up, turn them into comma strokes. Okay, she's got some really wild eyelashes. If you want to add a couple small ones in between, which I think I'll do next, got a couple there. Okay, and I even did it to the bottom, the lashes I put on the bottom. Even though they're probably going to get covered up by hair. So I'm going to add just a couple little ones in here. Let's do a couple in here. You can put as many eyelashes as you want. Those were a little more than what I have on the original, but it'll be okay. You're going to get out Wild Berry, a fairly new color. I mean, it doesn't get used that often. So we're going to paint her lip in with Wild Berry. Okay, so we're just painting that lip with Wild Berry. Probably should have shook mine a little bit more. Okay, let's see. I think this side needs to be a little bit longer. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and dry that so I can give it another coat. Much better. So be sure to shake your paint bottle. All right, lips painted. While we're letting the lips dry, we want to take our liner brush, little liner brush, and some plantation pine. And we're going to line that stitching on her neck and on her face. A nice thin line. And you go ahead and line those cross stitches however you like. I'm probably not doing them the same way they are on the pattern. Just kind of winging it here. Okay. While those are still wet even, we can come back with our highlight on them with celery shoot. So I'm just going to line the main stitch in between the cross stitches, and then whichever ones I want to be on top, I'm going to line a highlight on them. So the main line gets a little highlight in between the stitches, and then you line a highlight on the stitches themselves. Alright, with the stitches we want to float just a touch of shading. I'm going to do that underneath the stitching. So just come along and touch a little bit of shading under the stitch line. Do her head, her face. Okay. And then what I also did is I corner loaded my flat brush, and I did like little C strokes. They're not really C strokes, just a little touch of this green plantation pine to make a dent where the stitches go into her skin. And yours will look so much better, I'm sure of it. But it does really add something to it. Makes it look like they're actually stitched into her skin. Which they are, right? So I know this is a tiny little detail, but it really helps sell the stitching. So it's technically a C stroke, but basically you're just kind of touching the end of the tip of the brush there, the corner. Just to make it look like those stitches go into the skin. All right, she's looking pretty good. And we want to line just a little bit brighter highlight with warm white. So liner brush, warm white, and this is just going to go on the stitches that are the top. So you have some X stitches. It doesn't go on the stitch that's underneath. Okay? And that helps even more to sell it. All right, she's stitched up. So let's go back to her lips. Now we painted those with wild berry. We are going to come in and dry brush some highlights on them with cactus flower. That was our cheek color. It's going to go basically all over in the middle of those lips. So we're going to use strawberry to float shading on our lips. I'll get a little closer to them. The closer I get, the harder it is for me to keep on screen, but I'll give it a good shot. So we're going to try some strawberry for shading, and basically that's going to go in the corners of the lips, across the bottom edge of the bottom lip. So I'm going to go from the widow's peak into that corner, and I'm going to kind of walk it around and fill in that V area a little bit. Okay. That little goober there is going to bug me, but it'll be okay. So I'm going to tuck it into that little corner of her lip, back up to the widow's peak, and I'm going to go across the bottom. So we are going to thinly, very thinly, outline the lips and add that separation line through the center with strawberry plus just a touch of lamp black. Not a lot of lamp black. Just want to make a deeper wine color, kind of. So I'm just going to thinly outline these lips. I know my hand's in the way, but I think you can figure it out. There we go. It's as thin a line as you can make. And it does go past the corner of the lip a little bit. Not a whole lot, just a little. And I'm going to line that bottom edge. And then we are going to line that center separation. So if I were you, I would line it just a straight, well, not straight, it's a little curved line first. She's kind of got a smirky smile. And then I just kind of wanted to make a little bit of a separation, like her mouth is open just a little bit. So I'm just going to add a little bit thicker part through the center. And again, yours will look so much better. Okay? So what we need to do now is we need to line some brighter highlighting. I'm going to do that with cactus flower plus warm white first. So just a lighter pink. And this is going to go on the bottom lip, and it's very rugged. It's very rough. It's not perfect, okay? It's just kind of tapped on there, squiggled on there. Nothing perfect about it. And then a little bit on the top lip. Okay. And then with just straight warm white, we're going to tap on the brightest highlight. And it kind of goes through the center of the bottom of the lip. And then it's in the top of the top lip. So kind of up in those crow's feet, okay? All right. Let's move on to something else. Let's move on to the earrings. And the earrings are really simple. We're going to float a highlight on them with warm white. That's going to be on the outside edges. Let's see if I can get in my warm white. It's got pink in it now. So I need some fresh. All right. So we're going to float a highlight on the outside edge of these earrings with warm white. Easy peasy. We'll let that dry and we'll come back and do the shading on it. Okay, now the hair is painted with graphite, and you're going to need a 1/2 inch comb brush. So what we're going to do first is we are going to stroke on the hair. Let me back up a little bit on the hair with lamp black first. Now I'm not going to stroke it on in the where those stripes are going to go. Okay. So I'm going to thin down my paint, liner consistency, because I'm using my rake brush. And what I'm going to do is I want to make sure to start off the edge of the hair, okay, onto her face a little bit, because that's what your hair does. It starts kind of on your face. Now this isn't so important that you have to get all the strokes right. Right now we're just looking to add some texture and direction in this hair. Okay, so this is just the first layer. Yeah, later we'll add more. But always start off the edge of the hair onto the face a little bit. Right now I'm not worrying about those curls at all. Okay, just continuing to add those strands of hair. With thinned lamp black. I see that these rake brushes are a little softer, so if you apply any pressure you're going to get, it's just going to smoosh together. Alright, first layer of hair is on. And so we're going to stroke on some lighter hair on those same areas. But this time we're going to do it with lamp black plus turquoise. So just brush mix some lamp black and some turquoise. Get a nice kind of gray color. And now you're going to go through and stroke some lighter. Now it's not light enough. I couldn't even see it. Maybe this time I'll be able to see it. Yeah, a little bit. Okay, one section done. Let's go over here and do this other side section. And I am going to come back and lighten up like the curves of the curls or the waves in there. And we'll work on that center section now. Again, starting off the edge of the hair onto the face. And the curves don't have to match, obviously. It doesn't have to be the same thing that you did the last time. Okay, she's looking pretty good. Let's see if I can get that shine off. There you go. So we're going to stroke on these stripes, these lighter stripes. It's going to be lamp black plus turquoise blue plus warm white. We still want it to have kind of a gray look to it. Don't forget to start off the edge again. We're going to pick up more warm white. You don't have to wash your brush out. Just go straight into warm white. And we'll line some brighter strands here. All right, that's looking pretty good. Now we need to add some highlights to this, the darker hair. And we're going to do that with straight turquoise blue. So wash your brush out and then pick up some turquoise blue, thin turquoise blue. And this highlighting is kind of going to just follow the where the curves are, the waves of this hair. Okay, that makes it so you can see it a little better. And then in the middle, you just kind of want to pick and choose where you want to put the highlights. They don't go up the whole strand of hair. So, just kind of here and there. Okay, I think I want a little bit more on this side. Okay, that was a lot more, but it'll be okay. Just go through and bump up wherever you feel like you want to add a little bit more highlighting to that hair. She's got a little dip right there. Okay, cool. And then we want to wash that brush out, and we're going to come back and highlight the light stripes with just straight warm white. So thin down warm white, it's still working with your 1/2 inch rake. You just want to pull in, much like you did on the dark hair, you just want to pull in and highlight those curves of the waves of the hair. So I'm going to add the curls to the hair, to the sides, and to the forehead. But before I do that, I'm going to get out some spiced pumpkin, and I'm going to float shading on the inside edge of those earrings, hardest earrings. And I can see that y'all are going to probably cutesy them up, add some bling. Okay, so just a quick spiced pumpkin float on the inside edge of those earrings. Makes them stand out a little bit more. For the curls on the head, I'm going to change to my 1/4 inch filbert comb brush. This one has that filbert cat's tongue look. and it's smaller, and that way I can do the curls and stuff. So I'm going to stroke on the curls first with thin lamp black. This is just the underwear, okay? So you just want, think like those fancy curls we used to have on our face. Okay? Just add, I say K a lot, sorry. And then we got that one on the forehead. Now what I did with the one on the forehead, let me put the pattern on here. I just kind of made it come out. We're going to put the barrette right here. So I just kind of made it come out from where the barrette's going to be. That way I don't have to worry about blending it so much. I'm going to stroke that on with lamp black also. Not doing a very good job, but it'll be okay. Okay. Again, lamp black plus turquoise blue. We're going to stroke on some lighter hair on those curls. This is where I can hopefully fix my messy curl. Okay. And then we're just going to pick up a warm white. And again, and make a really light value. And add the lightest color. Flatten that out a little bit. Okay, that works for me. So I'm going to float some shading with lamp black. It's going to go kind of around where this curl is on top of the hair. Just to separate it a little bit. And I might touch a little bit on the curls on the side, just to define it a little better. And let's go ahead and do the tip, the inside here. We can also come back with some plantation pine and float shading on the face around that curl. And if you wanted to come back with a liner brush and maybe some lamp black or turquoise blue and add some more definite strands of hair in that big curl, that'd be fine. Completely up to you. For right now, I'm just going to add this shading on the forehead around this hair, this curl. Okay. Now I do want to add one more little float on her face. Let me get closer to her eyes. So I'm going to add like a little C stroke of plantation pine at the inside corner of her eyes. Okay, got that? And she does have a little bit of a wrinkle beneath her eyes. So just a quick little float that comes from that corner. I'm just going to go down. This one kind of disappeared. You can always come back and lighten up the hair more if you'd like. Now the dress. We need to stencil. You can use a stencil of your choice. I went ahead and used the trusty old Harlequin stencil. And these are going to get stenciled on with lamp black. And so what I want to do is I kind of want to line this up with the middle of her chin. Let's see here. All right. So I'm just going to pick up some lamp black on my stencil brush. I'm going to stencil that Harlequin design on there. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that I kind of line it up a little bit. So I'm just, all I did was just add a little mark there so I know where to line up the stencil. I'm going to add the Harlequin to the other side. Okay, so now that I've done that, I can take the piece that it sits on. Now if you're this anal, welcome to my world. So what I did is I put her in the stand, and then I'm just going to go through and mark little kind of points where the stencil ended up on the dress, where it's going to finish itself on the base. I can't talk. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, so I'm going to line this up like this. Oh crap, I put my stencil brush in the water. Wasn't real smart. So I'm going to stencil on the base, and hopefully it'll be somewhere close to what the dress piece is. Let's get the rest of it on there. It's almost working out, yeah. Oh crap. Don't move your stencil. It doesn't work real well. Okay. And let's finish this off. So it's kind of quasi-match. It's not going to match perfectly, because even I'm not that anal. All right, so let's see how close I got. Yeah, it did okay. Not that anybody's really going to notice. All right, so we need to come and dry brush highlighting on the base and the shoulders with warm white. If I could be on camera again, that would be really nice. Just basically going through the center of this. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to add some thin lines of spiced pumpkin. I think you can see them here. Just outline the harlequin design. Just needed to bring this color into another place on the piece. So just quick little lines of spiced pumpkin. Alright, this part's almost done. Now to go to the base, we're going to do the same thing. So the dress and the base have those little stripes on it. And of course, you're going to have to line a highlight on them with moon yellow, because that's another color we needed to bring in, because we used it once, so we need to use it again. So we're just going to line a highlight just through the centers of these little orange stripes. So just a couple places on the shoulders. Okay, easy peasy. And the same thing for the base. So we need to float shading around the outside edge of the base and on the shoulders of the dress, and we're going to do that with true blue. You just need a touch of true blue, not a lot. So we're going to go across the top of her shoulders. Both sides. And we're going to go all the way around the oval that the base is. I didn't go next to the slot. So I did kind of, it reminded me of the way you do frosting on a cake. But I wanted to pick up some of the purple so it connected with her purple eyes. So I just did some little kind of strokes or set downs with lavender tipped in warm white. And I did that on the edge of her dress and all the way around the oval. So I'm going to find my I think this liner brush will work. So you need some lavender and warm white, which I already have that out fresh. So I'm going to pick up lavender on my little liner brush and tip it in warm white. Kind of blend it a little bit on my palette. And I'm just going to set down and pull, set down and pull, set down and pull. So I'm kind of flattening out the brush a little bit when I set it down. And then I'm picking it up to give me a little tail, but it doesn't need to be a perfect tail, okay? Set down and pull, set down and pull. And this goes all the way around. Now if you want to just do a line of lavender and tipped it in warm white, that'd be fine too, whatever you want to do. I'm going to do it to this thing first, to the base first, so that I can kind of get a feel for it. And obviously I need the practice because those look pretty bad. Set down and pull, set down and pull. Probably be easier if I got an icing bag out. I should have picked something easier to do, right? That one is really bad. Just get that one off. I'm trying too hard. Okay. So it's kind of like a little chain going around there. Had to give you something hard to do. Okay, that one's done. So let's do our little trim on the neckline. Same thing, only much better, right? Set down and pull, set down and pull. Down and pull. Need to pick up a little white and vary those colors a little bit. Okay, so we are going to set this aside because the base and the girl are done. We're going to work on their little sign and skull. So those are based in warm white. So what you're going to do is you're going to paint the eyes and the nose on the skull with lamp black. He's got little, or no, they're really not little, big oval eyes. And then the nose, I did just a dot with my stylus. Let's see, here's one. I did Dolly Parton hearts. Do you remember those? So I did 2 dots. And then I just took the tiny end of my stylus and made it a little heart. We're going to float some shading on this guy with lamp black plus turquoise blue. It's our favorite shade color right now. So a nice blue-gray. I'm going to go on his little crossbones next to his face. I also did across the bottom of his teeth and around his head, so well, that heart's in there. So I'm going to change directions a little bit. I'm going to do this little C stroke in the ends of the bones, just to give them a little more character. And let's dry that nose so I don't wipe it out. Okay, so I'm going to go with the shading from the top of his head down, around, and across the bottom of his teeth. Okay? So I also want to take my liner brush with that turquoise blue lamp black, and I'm going to line that shadow above each eye. So it's just a wash of color with my liner brush going around the top of the eye just to give it some dimension. Okay, like it's sunk into the head now. In the bottom of each eye, I'm going to paint a little bit of turquoise blue. Just like a little crescent shaped stroke of turquoise blue in the bottom of each eye. And then we need to add a highlight dot in the top right of each eye, in the black part, and a little highlight dot on the nose. So you can set this guy aside. He's done. Oh no, he's not done. I forgot one more little highlight. Just like we did in her eyes, we're going to come down and do a little stroke, a little line of warm white that's diagonally across from the other larger highlight dot, okay? And it straddles the black and the blue. Then you can set him aside. All right, we're going to work on this guy. And this side edge border is going to be painted with celery shoot, which is a color we used at the very beginning. So hopefully when I teach the class, I'll remember that and we'll do it while we have the celery shoot out fresh. But I'm just going to paint that side border with celery shoot. Alrighty. It doesn't take too long. Okay. Borders, celery shoot. There are some little stripes on there that you can use your liner brush to paint. Use this one. And they are spiced pumpkin. You can make them any color you want, but I made mine spiced pumpkin. So I just kind of flattened out my brush a little bit and painted some little stripes. They're not all the same size. They might not even be where they are on the pattern, but it'll be okay. This is another fast forward moment. All right, so we have some spiced pumpkin checks. So we're just going to take our liner brush and some moon yellow. You can use the same one that you painted the stripes with. And just in the four corners, I just want to line a highlight across all the stripes with moon yellow. And your stripes might not be dry. That's okay if it smudges a little bit. It's all right. So just through the center of each corner, line some moon yellow to add a highlight. And then to make that stand out just a little bit more, take a little bit of warm white and just in the very corners, lighten it up. All right, moving right along. So we are going to float some very well blended out turquoise blue. Can I get in it still? Yeah. And that's going to go kind of start on the chisel edge in the top center and come around the sides and just kind of walk it down and walk it out a little bit. So you're basically tinting the sides with a little bit of turquoise blue. So that needs to dry. And then what we're going to do is we are going to float just a little bit of lavender here and there. So I think I kind of did it in the corners here and walked it towards the middle. There's no rhyme or reason. Just wanted to bring some of the purple into this. Okay. Awesome. So if you have a black Identi-pen, what you can do is you can let this dry, and then you can use your the fat side of your Identi-pen. I need to find mine. I don't know where it went. There it is. So I want this to dry, and I'm just going to do the lettering with my Identi-pen, which should make it nice and easy. Yeah. So no having to line your lettering unless you just want to. You could do that too. You could paint it on with your liner brush and lamp black. But this would be so much faster. So the lettering is done, and I did take an Identi-pen. I'm not an Identi-pen, a black Pigma pen, a .01. You could do this with your liner brush and lamp black again, but I just wanted to add a line, outline these little orange stripes a little bit, and the pen just worked really fast. It doesn't have to be neat. If it isn't neat, that kind of just adds to the character. But just a quick little line on either side of the orange stripes. So the sign is done. The only thing you have left to do now is to glue this puppy together. I didn't glue the base on because I wanted to make it easy to store. But you're welcome to glue the base on. And I'm going to put the sign on, glue it in place, and I'm going to glue my little skull barrette in place. And then I'm going to varnish it. Don't forget to sign it. And you have a lovely little girl who doesn't care if her hair is a mess. It's really not a mess. It's really quite clean and well kept. But anyway, this is our Monster Hair Don't Care. So I appreciate you being here. I hope to see you in another class. Have a great rest of your day.